Good afternoon, and welcome to UMass Dartmouth. Thanks for coming to see this amazing building. This is our Liberal Arts and Science building, which we affectionately call LARTS. As I said outside, this was the original Paul Rudolph building of all the buildings on the campus. He was actually not the architect for the rest because apparently this particular project was a little bit over budget. But the remaining architects stayed true to the vision, and the entire campus came into being. This building sees thousands of our students. All of our general education courses are in here. As you can probably tell, sweltering in here right now. There is no air conditioning in this building, so that's a big renovation in addition to the geothermal, the triple pane windows, the modernized classrooms, and all of that. This project is achieving a lot of great things. I think that the governor mentioned we're preserving a historically important brutalist building. This is one of the largest brutalist installations in the country, and it's very, very unique. We're giving our students modern classrooms to study in. As you saw from the classroom tours, we're making those accessible, modernized electronics and teaching technologies. We're reducing our carbon footprint substantially, saving energy through the triple pane windows, the geothermal, the new roof, the new doors, and creating a lot of jobs, which I think is of vital importance for the state. I have a couple quick thank yous, and then I will turn it over to the governor. This project is a partnership, and all of us at UMass Dartmouth are deeply grateful for the support we've had from so many of you here today. I'd like to thank DCAM for investing over $84 million in this project, the UMass Building Authority for helping us oversee the project, President Marty Meehan for all his leadership for higher education, the UMass Board of Trustees, led by Steve Karam. Where's Steve? Thank you, Steve, for your work, and our legislators. I know Chris Markey is here today. I saw him somewhere. So most of all, I'd like to thank Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, and their administration for all they have done and continue to do to support public higher education across the Commonwealth, especially through the proposed BRIGHT Act. I'm honored to introduce a passionate advocate for higher education and for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. And it's true, I am a passionate advocate for public higher education. I'm also a passionate advocate for jobs, and I'm a passionate advocate for driving down energy costs. And this investment that we're proposing, the BRIGHT Act, $2.5 billion to put into infrastructure, facilities in 29 campuses around this great state, does all three things. And that's what this is about. So we're thrilled to be here today on campus at the fantastic UMass Dartmouth with Chancellor Fuller, with President Marty Meehan, with Chair of the UMass Board, Steve Karam, and all the trustees who are here today. Also great to be joined by other officials, Dartmouth Town Administrator Cody Haddad and Representative Chris Markey. We thank the legislature for their partnership. I also want to recognize the head of the Massachusetts Building Trades. Frank Callahan is with us, as well as Barbara Cronky of the UMass Building Authority, and members of our team in the administration. I'll start with our Secretary of Administration and Finance, Matt Gorkowitz, our Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, Lauren Jones, and our terrific Commissioner of DCAM, whose teams help design, plan, and get the money out the door for all these projects, Adam Bakey. We just got to tour inside of this building. We're standing inside this building, I should say, but we were able to tour and see what's happening, see what's underway. I met with a lot of the workers who are on site. This project alone represents 500 jobs, 500 private sector jobs across 40 different firms and companies in Massachusetts. It's just an example of how important this kind of investment is to our economy and how it supports job growth in addition to making our public higher ed campuses the best that they can be for our students. There's a reason that people from around the world come to Massachusetts. There's a reason that Massachusetts young people want to stay in Massachusetts for higher ed. It's because of our incredible campuses, and the UMass system is an example of that. And so I just want to say that we're very proud that this is a $84 million state investment, and proud of how it's being put to work. And that's what we have more to do, and that's what we have more we want to do. That proposed BRIGHT Act. The BRIGHT Act is about building resilience across all of our campuses, building infrastructure to support higher ed and to transform higher ed. These are important capital investments that we need to make as a state, and the ROI on this is great. Not only is it jobs, you end up with better campuses that will attract more students and researchers and new entrepreneurs, and also you're going to have buildings that will be more energy efficient. What does that actually mean? Chancellor just told me that that's going to mean a 56% reduction in energy costs here with that greater efficiency. So it's just an example of what we're talking about. I'll say this, we did some studies, so for folks here in this region, we're looking at 20,000 new construction jobs with the BRIGHT Act and $2.5 billion in investment. So much is possible. Our public higher ed plays such a critical role all across the state. Our 5 UMass campuses, 9 state universities, 15 community colleges across our state. And we have been focused on making sure that people can afford to attend college if they want. Right here at UMass Dartmouth, we know that more than 50% of the students are first generation to go to college, and that's terrific. And it's important because these campuses help supply the workforce that we need, that our employers need, that businesses need as they think about expanding here or coming to Massachusetts. And, you know, as the biggest cheerleader for the state of Massachusetts, that's my push every day. More people, I want them coming to Massachusetts. I want them raising families here. I want people studying here. I want you growing businesses here. And I want more companies coming to Massachusetts. And this kind of investment is exactly what we need to do. It's a smart investment. There's a great return on that investment for taxpayers. And I'm just excited to be here today to show it in action. I also want to say a couple other things. Since January of 2023, when we took office, a few things have happened. Nearly 140,000 more residents are working since that time in Massachusetts. That's a good thing. That's a growth of 5.2%, or nearly double the national rate. Our labor force growth ranks 4th among states around the country, and there are 50. We're 4th. Our employment growth ranks 7th in the country. And our labor force participation growth, which means the percentage of our population that's working, ranks #1 among states. Look, we got work to do. We got work to do, but you know, we're making what I think are smart investments, trying to build homes as quickly as possible to drive down housing costs, making smart investments in public transportation, right? And this kind of investment that is an investment in jobs, an investment in higher ed, and an investment in our local economies. So thank you, Chancellor, for inviting me on. The other thing that runs parallel, I think, to the BRIGHT Act is something called the DRIVE Initiative. When the federal administration cut funding for Massachusetts, cut funding for science, for innovation, for research, you know, that's not good for anybody, including a bunch of people who are looking for cures to diseases and treatments right now that are being studied and pioneered right in Massachusetts labs. Our response was to propose the DRIVE Initiative, which is a $400 million investment in research that drives our economy. And you know, you look at the DRIVE Initiative alongside the BRIGHT Act. These are smart, Massachusetts-focused investments that will set us apart as a state. They will support our economy and grow our economy. Very, very important things, and we made them as a priority as a team. I'd now like to thank and invite up Frank Callahan, who I mentioned is head of the building trades, great partners representing men and women out there across Massachusetts who are giving it their all every day, including 500 or so who are right on this campus today, hard at work. Frank.
Thank you, Governor Healey. And I'd also like to say thanks on behalf of the 75,000 men and women in Massachusetts who have a union book in their pocket and work in the construction industry. I want to thank you on their behalf for making this investment, not just in higher education, but in them. When we look around this building, we heard about how historic this building is with the brutalist architecture, and it is. But the governor, you referenced the 500 jobs created here today. You know, when we were walking around, we happened to bump into a young apprentice, 3 weeks on the job. So I like to say we're not just building a campus because where students are going to learn. Those apprentices are learning before these buildings are built, before a single student steps foot in one of those classrooms. That apprentice is learning her trade, learning how to do a quality project and learning how to do it safely. And in the meantime, they're earning while they're learning. They're making good wages, good benefits. They're not a drain on the economy. And then hopefully after a lifetime of hard work, have a secure retirement. This is critically important, and I just want to close with this. It reminds me, it's a bit of deja vu. We were standing at a similar podium, I'm trying to think of the year when Governor Patrick put forward $800 million to rebuild the UMass Boston campus. When we did that, I happened to sit on the UMass Building Authority at the time. We built that under a project labor agreement to ensure all those things I talked about. But out of that came building pathways. I just was in Chicago last weekend with 6,000 union tradeswomen from all across the United States. That started in Boston. It started right here in Massachusetts, and it's being replicated all across the country. So those opportunities are opening up to women and people of color, not people who were underrepresented in our industry. So thank you for that. And the project labor agreements make that happen. And again, thank you for your executive order, which was signed back in March, to make sure that where appropriate, those things happen. So, thank you, Governor. And we're looking forward to putting more people to work all across the state.
Yeah, we are
Thank you.
too. Right. And now to bring us home, right? Oh, you want to introduce? He is your president, so.
Well, you can introduce him.
All right. Well, nobody needs any. This guy doesn't need any introduction, but I do want to offer one, and that is that we're very fortunate to have President Marty Meehan at the helm at UMass. He is doing a fantastic job, national leader when it comes to the work on higher ed and what's possible, and just really appreciate you, Marty, and bringing everybody out today to see this important work that's happening on one of your great campuses.
Thank you very much, Governor. I also want to acknowledge the chairman of our Board of Trustees, Steve Karam, as well as the vice chairman of our Board of Trustees and the chair of the Building Authority, Mary Burns, who's worked very hard with the Building Authority. And I want to acknowledge Barbara Cronky as well and thank Barbara. We have a number of trustees here, and I just want to quickly mention thank you to Michael O'Brien for being here, Joe Sullivan for being here, and we have our newest trustee, Ken Fiola, who's here. And it's great to have Ken. Chancellor Fuller, the governor seems to be another South Coast person. You seem to be getting a competitive advantage here in trustees. So thank you very much, Ken. We had a great meeting today. I also want to say to Adam and Matt, it's good that you're still working for the University of Massachusetts. We appreciate that. The BRIGHT Act is critically important. It means jobs. The University of Massachusetts alone has $4.8 billion in deferred maintenance. And we're ready to go to work. All we need is an investment. The BRIGHT Act represents the most significant investment in public higher education infrastructure in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And Frank, we're shovel ready to go with this. So there won't be any delays. We have studied what our needs are over a period of years. We've had professionals come in. We're ready to go. We need to pass the BRIGHT Act. It's critically important to the future. We need those jobs. We're a research facility here at UMass Dartmouth, but throughout the University of Massachusetts. We are the public research institution. And the governor mentioned the DRIVE Act, and it's critically important. It's critically important to have the public sector, the research universities here at UMass. It's also critically important that the research partners that we partner with, the private institutions, the private hospitals. The DRIVE Act and the BRIGHT Act are extremely important to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I want to thank the governor for proposing both of these and pledge that we will do everything we can at the University of Massachusetts to make sure the legislature passes both of these initiatives. Thank you very much, Governor.
Thanks, everybody. Any questions on topic? No? We'll let everybody get home? Okay, great. Have a great afternoon. Stay safe on the roads.